Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Here are some words that I need to pay attention to. I quote, "Patience is counting down without blasting off." Yeah, buddy. Anyway, good morning. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a beautiful Tuesday, April 3rd. Good morning, good morning. And a good morning to you and your family, your office staff, wherever you are. Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell, and this is Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale going on right now. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance on a Tuesday. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
You demand?
Yes.
All right, go ahead, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, my young friend. And right now it's time for the weather forecast, brought to everybody by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. Easy to find, can't miss it. And, of course, they've got all the tools and equipment, and they say spring is here. And even though we got a little wind and it's a little chilly out there this morning, I'll tell you what, they've got the power rakes and the rototillers to get the garden ready for planting. All of this equipment and more at K&R Rental. Call them at 678-3122. Right now, here's the weather.
We're actually going to see some sunshine today and winds definitely at a minimum. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies, expecting a high of 52. Slightly breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 8 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low of 37. We do have a slight chance of rain showers for tonight and for tomorrow. 20% chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 58, and winds are going to be picking up. For Wednesday night, 20% chance of showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy and 40. And then for Thursday, 30% chance of showers, mostly in the afternoon, and a high of 58. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Did she say snow? I don't want that evil 4-letter word. Hey, the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. Super good folks, Roger and the crew over there at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. And the number to call, 678-3122, K&R Rental. Absolutely the best. Hey, caller, I'll be right there. Got to pay some bills here real quick. I want to remind everybody about the Burley Livestock Sale coming up on Thursday. Don't forget Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy at the sale that works for you. 10:30 starting time until I tell you different at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Burley Livestock Sale Yard sale on Thursday. And also, a big thank you and a shout out to our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. Yes, Kevin and Cindy, the very best cleaners in the entire universe. I'm telling you what, they've done my clothes for years and years and years. Do a great job. And don't forget, too, that you don't want to throw those winter clothes, especially today and tomorrow. You don't want to throw them in the closet because, doggone it, if they're dirty, get them clean and they'll be ready for you next fall. Absolutely. You get in there to Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. They are the best. Daryl's Cleaners. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Well, Tony, how are you?
I'm just fine. I think my big problem this morning is we are in danger of being overrun with hordes of undocumented insurgents that are coming up through the Mexican border, and which they should have been stopped at Mexico's southern border. We have no idea who these people are, how many of them are MS-13 gang members, how many of them are Muslim terrorists that could be bringing weapons into this country, and along with that, how many diseases are they going to bring with us?
You know, Tony, to everything that you said this morning, I say, yes, you are correct. And to all the bleeding heart liberals that listen in and then criticize me later because they don't have the guts to call into this program, you hit it spot on. This is mob rule. It's mob rule by those from out of this country making demands on us, the American citizens, to just take them in and then foot the bill. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm going to keep demanding right back at our government. They get off their big, fat, lazy butts and go to work for us, the taxpayers of this country that are legal citizens.
Well, Mexico is behind this insurgent. I don't care what anybody says. They want to see America goes down so bad, it's killing them.
Well, President Trump,
in my opinion, has the ability and the power to put the troops on the border, string up the barbed wire, put the bayonets on the rifles, and help the Border Patrol stop any movement into this country anymore.
I couldn't agree with you more. I agree. We've got the National Guard that should be called out. We've got a insurgency of negativity. How do you like that one this morning? And what that negativity is, we've got drug dealers. We've got people coming in that want to do death, mayhem, and violence in the United States. We've got those that want to come in and become leeches on our system. I couldn't agree with you more. We can employ the National Guard, tighten up our barriers and our borders the way it should be.
These people have nothing to contribute to this country except drain you and I of our income to support them.
Oh, I agree. You will not find any, those poor people. No, I don't like anybody making demands. You know, Tony, on this program, and I'm not trying to toot my horn, I'm just being honest. And if people can't stand that, turn the doggone dial to another program. What I'm saying is when I try to give to as many groups and organizations as I can when people are in need. But I will not have anybody coming to me and making demands that I do this, I pay this, and I submit my money to an organization because of their demands. And I think that right now these people need to be stopped and turned around.
Well, we're in extreme danger, and I'll tell you what, we're going to have these people in our streets attacking us before long.
I agree. Tony, I appreciate you and Mary. How are we coming in over there in Twin Falls today?
Well, it's got a little bit of static, but it's a lot better. It's improving. I think it's just the atmosphere, something up above it that's causing it.
Well, yeah, it's the liberals beating their chest or whatever, crying in vain.
They're putting out their gas.
Yeah, swamp gas. Thank you, Tony. God bless you, man.
Okay,
all right, bye. Thank you. Woo, yes. I tell you what, yesterday, I got to share. You know, I'm on crutches. I don't make any bones about it. I don't try to hide the fact. It tipped me over yesterday. There was a gust of wind that hit when I was out watering and feeding the steers, and bang! I mean, that came around the corner of the barn, and the old fat boy on the aluminum crutches went, boop, tipped over, just like that Laughing show where the guy on the bike, remember he's riding a tricycle and tips over? That was me yesterday. Hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't know what the wind gust was, but it was big enough to get rid of and tip over a guy 222 pounds, I'll tell you that. Holy moly. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and they've got all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Yeah, they do. And they've got the best people working for them, as they have had for over almost 60 years. Wow, that is great service to the community. Ramsey Heating and Electric. And the number to call, 678-0459. They start at 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Let's also mention to you real quick about our friends at Denny's Restaurant. Hello, Denny's, America's Diner. Go in there and sit down, pick up the menu, and just start browsing through the menu. Oh, my goodness. All the great choices for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and great desserts. Oh, it's great. And the people are so nice and friendly serving you. We have our Zeb's Lunch Bunch over there once a month, and it is fantabulous. So please stop in anytime, all the time, to America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Line Road in Twin Falls. I urge your calls this morning at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I want to talk just a little bit more about that supposed march onto our borders in just a second. Also want to say good morning to Holly and the folks over at Pomerell Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Now, the number to call and get more information on Pomerell Place is 677-8212. And don't live alone. Don't be lonely and subjecting yourself to a lot of lonely safety hazards or poor food. I know if you're like me, can't cook, won't cook, you'll have a Pop-Tart and call it good. Don't do that. And miss medication, please call them today. Pomerell Place at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Number to call, 677-8212. Your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. President Trump told Mexico yesterday they'd better disband and stop this mob, this mafia mob that's heading for our southern border, or perhaps the new refined NAFTA agreement may not be very kind to Mexico. Good. Let's tell them like it is. Let's not mince any words. You either do this or we're going to pull the plug on this. That's the way it should be. Good. Stop them, turn them around, and make them go home. No more border jumping to the cost and the possible endangerment of our United States citizens. That's enough. No more demanding that we take them in and all others. No more. It is way past time. And I've said this so many times on the program, you're probably sick of hearing it, but it is a fact. It is a fact. These liberal loons that live right here in this area of Magic Valley, they wait. They do not have the nerve to call on the air and arbitrate. They wait till after the program's over, and then they send me these absolutely ridiculous emails, condemnation emails, and then also phone calls. Why don't you call during the program? No backbone. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk to you about a display of complete stupidity by a Democrat on television last night. His name is John Garamendi from, you were ahead of me, California. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. This guy had the knowledge of an angleworm. Anyway, I want to talk to you about Dino Septic Service over in Rupert, actually serving all of Magic Valley. Dino Septic Service, and they, like I've said many times, recently purchased Dennis Stockstedter's pumping service, and boy, they're bigger and can serve you and you and you and everybody. That's right, liquid waste removal, septic inspections, sewer and sink drain lines clean, and water and sewer lines installed. They're going to be busy coming up this spring. You can bet on it. Give them a call at 436-6526 or in Burley, 678-1638. Very fast, fair, friendly service. They've worked for us and done a great job. Great job. Dino Septic Service. And they got that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. I love that. Oh, and by the way, too, don't forget our friends with Lennox. Oh, the Lennox Home Comfort Systems. I'm telling you what now, they've got a comfort system called Airvana, defined as the ultimate level of comfort that you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox Home Comfort System. And you can obtain those at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And you can possibly get up to a $1,700 rebate. Oh, Airvana is just another way to make you feel better, so call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them on their website, ramseysonline.com. All right. You know, last night I was watching television and kind of jumping the dials a little bit prior to the basketball game, and yes, the NCAA championship. Not much of a game last night. But anyway, they had Democrat John Garamendi from California, and he was speaking out, and I really want you to jump in on this. He was speaking out against a potential Trump-Putin White House summit. And some of the reasoning that he was giving absolutely put me back in my lazy boy for a few moments. He said that Trump is not prepared and may be easily led and might very possibly make too many mistakes in a meeting with Putin. Really? Really? Trump is not prepared. You know, this guy, Trump, I think, has got a lot of the Democrats just absolutely teetering backward on their heels. You know, they didn't expect this guy to be so forceful. They didn't expect this guy to basically tell our enemies, stand up, pay attention, and fly right. And for this Garamendi to sit there on television last night and say that, well, Trump's not prepared to have Putin come to the White House, I don't see it that way, folks. I see it as Putin coming here to the White House. I think it's a good thing that we discuss with a country that literally has a lot of nuclear stockpiles and could be a destructive force against us, i.e. the same for us against them. I think talking is good. I think sitting down is good. I think getting to know each other is good. And to the Democrats and the liberals, well, he's not prepared. What do you base that on? Garamendi last night made himself out to be a very inept idiot as far as I'm concerned. And I think Trump absolutely is going to be the lion in the den when Putin shows up at the White House. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Hello, Nick Greenwell. Good old boy. Yeah, he's getting older. Good old boy, Nick Greenwell, and all the physical therapists over there. They know all the exercises and the sports medicine, and they've got the only hydrotherapy pool of its kind in the entire area. Wow. If you're coming back from a surgery or recouping from an accident, this is the place to go. I know, because they really, really helped me. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with the number to call for an appointment, and I hope you do, 678-1191. Please give them a call today. By the way, later on this morning, what time are we going to have him on? Let's see, 10:30. We're going to have Fred Snook, the judge. Here come the judge. Fred Snook is a judge up in Lemhi County, and he's also headed up the Salmon Select Horse Sale for many, many years at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds, and it's going to be April 12th through the 15th, and they've got, wow, this is Idaho's premier horse sale. If you're into horses and into the equine industry, you know, you don't want to miss this. I mean, man, they started on Thursday the 12th, and they have all kinds of welcoming and wolf howling contests, and then, of course, they have the mule sale Calcutta. Friday's the big mule sale. Saturday's the big horse sale. Holy buckets. You better be there at the Salmon Select Horse Sale, April 12th through the 15th in Salmon. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, I think them Democrats are telling you that President Trump won't bow down and kiss the bottom of Putin's feet and go along with everything he says, like Obama would have done.
Yeah. I think, Jerry, you've hit it right on the head. Obama was an appeaser. Obama was just absolutely a very kind of a doormat for the rest of the world's leaders to wipe their sandals on, and they did that relatively well. And I think that if it's going to be in Washington, D.C., Jerry, it's going to be in the White House, and like I said a moment ago, it's going to be in the Lion's Den. I think it's all to our advantage.
Well, look how far we've come along with North Korea. We got them talking.
Yeah, and
you know, I think Trump knows very well what he's doing on the diplomatic scene. I think he's about 1,000,000 times better than Obama or Clinton or any of them have been in the past.
Yeah, but Jerry,
a heck of a lot better president.
I agree with you, and his numbers are up, his approval ratings are up, and the media, I don't know if you caught this yesterday, Jerry, but on MSNBC and on CNN and other stations, when the numbers went up for Trump on his approval ratings, they took it upon themselves, they being the liberal media, to condemn him and say, quote, he is the worst president ever in the history of the United States.
And my guess is they said he was probably rated 97% below where he was at.
Well, the media is scared because they put all their eggs in the basket that Trump was going to be an absolute fiasco, and now he's turning out to be a darn good leader, and he's a tough leader, and he's got the world's attention that, number one, America is not going to take any more of their guff. I had to clean it up a little bit, Jerry. But anyway, I think he's doing a great job.
Well, I'll agree with you, and I think that he's going to keep on doing a great job. And as long as he don't listen to them darn Democrats, he'll be way ahead.
Amen to that.
By the way, you have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless.
He already has. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate you as always. Thank you very much. I got to tell you a little kind of a funny story. I get the biggest kick out of this. I'm still chuckling because I thought it was really funny. Yesterday at the Houston Astros home opener for the 2018 Major League Baseball season, they were going to have a special ceremony right after the national anthem or before, I can't remember exactly which. And they were going to unveil out in the outfield a great big World Series championship banner because the Astros won the world last year as champions of the Major League Baseball. But they had this great big plaque and basically poster, whatever it might be, covered with a black sheet, okay? And then all the players gathered on the baselines, and they were all looking to the outfield, and the ceremony was in favor of the Houston Astros, 2017 world champions. And they couldn't get the banner uncovered. It was fantastic. The players were standing there, and they started chuckling, and then they started laughing, and they couldn't get the cover off of the World Series banner. Finally, and I'm not making this up, some guy that works for the Astros management as a groundskeeper got a great big weed blower. Yeah, a weed blower. And he goes up there with this... And they finally blow the cover off with this great big fancy World Series banner, and then all was well. I got a kick out of that. Of course, I got a warped sense of humor anyway. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Our friends over to Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, and they've got 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 locations serving you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan. Hello, Juan, the old football coach. And at 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli and the crew, and then up in Nampa. Barry Equipment and Rental is Idaho's premier Bobcat and Doosan equipment sales, service, and parts rental dealer, and they've got all the Walker mowers. Your grass is growing. Yes, it is. You're going to need a Walker mower. Equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, they are the best. They really know, and they can help you with what you need. And if you don't know how to run something, they got a great big sandbox out behind the business, and they'll teach you. Barry Equipment and Rental, Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. You stop in and see them today. Okay, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There's an Army vet in Ohio, and we've heard similar stories like this before. There's an Army vet in Ohio that is so proud of this great United States of America. And he is so proud that he served this United States of America. And he lives in a housing development area, a homeowners association. And he put a flagpole out in his yard, and every day, caller, I'll be right there, goes out and flies the American flag. Well, the homeowners association, in this anti-American flag day that we live in, oh, America, it's not great again, it never was, take the flag down. They came after this guy and they said, take the flag down. Do not fly that flag anymore. And as of this morning, this vet basically told the homeowners association, well, I'm not going to tell you exactly what this vet told the homeowners association, but that flag is not coming down. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I would have called earlier, but everything that you said, and Jerry and Tony, all of those are the things that I really feel are the way it should be. I mean, they told it the way it should be, is what I meant to say.
Yep.
But this congressman from California is worried about Putin and Trump when he's got more in his handful there in California.
You know, well, I laugh about a situation that's really devastatingly dangerous in California, but that's the whole point of why I bring this story up this morning. A Democrat from California, a state that is in complete disarray right now. They don't know Khmer from Sikkim, and he's criticizing Trump for not being prepared to meet with Putin when they've got border problems in California, they've got economy problems in California, they've got all kinds of problems in California, and this twit says that Trump's not prepared?
It is kind of almost comical, really.
And you know the thing about California, Keith, the thing about California, too, that people, in all seriousness, they need to remember that it's not all of California, because many, many, many more towns and communities are telling Governor Jerry Brown, go eat a popsicle because we're going to sue you on behalf of the federal government. We are not going to abide by your stupidity in not following the federal law.
You know, it's almost like they've awakened a giant.
Yeah.
Which are really the people of California, not the San Francisco people, not the people in L.A., but the people who live in California and work there. They're the ones who are concerned about where we're going with this.
I agree. And you know, of all the people...
Sanctuary City just got to go away.
Absolutely. Well, yes. They should have never started. It's absolutely un-American. It's against our Constitution. It breaks our laws. It causes complete jigsaw puzzle of breaking up this unity in America. It's absolutely insane to give people that are not citizens, they are illegal aliens, many of which are felons, a safe haven, which is ridiculous at the risk and safety to the rest of us.
You know, to see this Jerry Brown and his bushy eyebrows reminds me of that guy that was a comedian-type commentary or something. It had the real bushy eyebrows, you know, that was so full of it.
Yeah.
That's what Jerry Brown reminds me of.
He's a poor man's Groucho Marx.
Well, he's a lot more than that.
All right.
And we won't carry that any further.
No, we won't. As a matter of fact, it's a family program. Thank you for calling. Have a great day, buddy. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I do not understand why the Times News newspaper in Twin Falls keeps making the same silly mistakes in their newspaper. Now, they've done this before. They said the District 6 High School Rodeo got off to a rough start Friday night at the Eldon Evans Expo Center in the Shane Davis Arena. You know, come on. Why do you make these silly, stupid mistakes all the time? There is no Shane Davis Arena. It was Sean Davis. He was the coach there for many, 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 many years. And they did dedicate the arena to his namesake, Sean Davis Arena. And I get sick and tired of the continual repetitiveness of making the mistakes. And it's not, like I said, it's not the first time. Now, they can say, well, it was a typo. Well, then correct the typo and proofread. But they've done that before. It's Sean Davis. And to the lady that wrote the story, Diane Philbin, do your homework, sweetheart. Do your homework. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Once again, don't forget Airvana, or Airvana, is defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And when you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them on the website ramseysonline.com. Your turn, 436-2244. Good morning, good morning, good morning to all of us.
Good morning, Zeb.
How are you?
First of all, I don't think they proofread anymore, do they?
Evidently not, Adrian, because some of the absolutely kindergarten mistakes that paper makes, they should be ashamed for not proofreading.
I realize that. Sometimes it's almost comical. In fact, I read it more for the comedy of it than I do the news of it anymore because you can't believe their news.
You're just like me. Somebody said to me the other day, why do you read the Times News when they make so many stupid, frivolous mistakes? And I told them this, it entertains me.
That's exactly right, exactly. And they do have a pretty good crossword. It's kind of simple, but on Sundays better.
Yeah.
But anyway, why hasn't anyone else called in? Why am I the only one that heard that earlier, about an hour before you came on, it was another station, but you weren't on, that Mexico has agreed to disband this group?
Well, I commented on that earlier because Trump told them, hey, we're going to renegotiate NAFTA, and maybe some of the renegotiation's not going to go well for you, so stop this mob before they get to the United States.
But that's what I'm saying. I heard about an hour, about 7:15. It may have been on earlier, but that's when I turned it on. That they had indeed agreed to do that, and they were going to disband them.
Yeah.
So maybe someone else has heard something.
Well, the problem is I don't think a lot of the news media locally, they really put any in-depth study into what they're doing, and I mean that. We get up early in the morning, and I'm going to kind of pat myself on the back a little bit, along with my lovely bride. We are in this office working at 5 o'clock, calling New York, calling Washington, D.C., getting all the stories verified, and I don't think anybody else cares. They kind of just form their own opinion, right or wrong. They're just going to put it out that way, and I think that's stupid.
Well, I do very much appreciate, and I'm sure most of your listeners, if not all, do appreciate the fact that you do that, and we can depend on you to give us factual news, you and Deanne. But maybe that was just something because it was another station.
Yeah.
But maybe someone else heard it too, and we'll get some more comments.
What did you think? I know, Adrienne, you're a well-versed lady in a lot of different things, but did you see the humor in the story about the Houston Astros and they couldn't get the cover off the World Championship?
I love it. I just love it.
I laughed and laughed. I almost had an accident. I laughed so hard. Hey, thanks for calling in.
I just love faux pas.
Take care. Thank you. I love that. They had to send a guy up there with a weed blower. Oh, that makes me happy. Good morning, everybody. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call, please. I'd love to visit with you. Well, by the way, Villanova, they are the NCAA champions, basketball champions. It was not even close. They ended up winning 79-62, and I don't think Villanova even worked up a good sweat last night. They are a dynamic powerhouse for college basketball, and some of those dudes are really big, strong, and they can really go up and play on top of the rim. It was, like I said, I had to get to sleep. The game was going well past 9 o'clock, and yours truly, when that alarm goes off at about 10 to 4, it's ugly. And so I thought, well, the game out of hand, and I went to bed, and it ended up just like I thought it would. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There was a story on yesterday that it made me just absolutely riled up. There are just over 7 months before lawmakers face the voters in November for the midterm elections, but the word is out that they're not going to do anything from now until November because they don't want to make any waves. What in the heck are we paying them for if they're not going to do anything for the next 6.5, 7 months? Go home. Live on your own money. Caller, good morning. I almost choked to death.
Please don't do that. I don't think we can reach through the lines and give you.
You're not gonna. Are you gonna give me the? Are you gonna give me the Heimlich over the air?
Yeah. Hey, I think it is just so exciting to see how those of us who are normal Americans have so much to be proud of, and I think we have a normal American president too, and that makes me feel even better.
Well, the opposite of normal would be abnormal, and I think we went through the abnormal for 8 years with Obama, and now it's hard to shift back into normalcy, and the Democrats can't accept it.
I just don't think that they are going to have 4 comfortable years, and I hope it's 8. I hope it's very uncomfortable for them. They better wake up, because the United States is not California or the liberal mindset. We're all hardworking.
Yeah.
We all have to be realistic. You've got to work together.
My idea of a great newscast every night is to see a video of people sitting on the curbs in California, beating their chest and crying their eyes out because they can't stand conservative politics. That's my idea of a good TV show.
And the only thing is I don't have time to look at those folks who are so lazy because we're out working.
I couldn't agree more. But, when I get tired and I come in from taking care of my cattle and whatever, I just do like a little entertainment. And so if they're standing there going, oh, we can't stand Donald Trump, we can't take it anymore, that's my idea of really good TV.
Mine too. Yeah,
God bless.
I feel so sorry.
Thanks, Chris. God bless you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Hey, caller number 2, I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody, Bob Nonini running for lieutenant governor. That's right, 25 years experience in local and state politics. And, of course, a man that absolutely believes in parental choice for education and natural resources. Roll back the zealous federal regulations and jobs in the economy, create a positive business climate. That's what he wants for Idaho. Idaho needs Nonini. Don't forget Bob Nonini for lieutenant governor, paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini, lieutenant governor, treasurer R. Scott Hogue. Caller, I tell you what, you've waited long enough. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. I have a happy note for you. At the Senior Junction on South Oberlin in Burley, today we're having a pork chop lunch or dinner, and I guarantee you won't go away without having all you wanted to eat. And I'll still offer for the first time, single or couple that haven't never attended the luncheon at the seniors, says I'll buy their lunch today.
Well, Joe, God bless you, and we'll send them by. There you go. Joe Taylor is inviting first-timers that have never been to the Senior Junction for lunch. Come on by. And the first ones in the door that have never been there before, I want you to open the door and scream out in a loud voice, Joe Taylor, where are you? And he'll buy your lunch. Right, Joe?
That's right. Have a good day.
All right. God bless you, man. Thank you. Nice man. Nice man. Hey, we got to get a weather forecast on here. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they are located right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. And the number to call for an appointment, and I urge you to make an appointment, at 312-0957. They help me. They can help you. Trust your hearing health to Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, with his finger pointed above the button, here's Wheels with the weather.
We're actually going to see some sunshine today and winds definitely at a minimum. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies, expecting a high of 52. Slightly breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 8 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low of 37. We do have a slight chance of rain showers for tonight and for tomorrow. 20% chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 58, and winds are going to be picking up. For Wednesday night, 20% chance of showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy and 40. And then for Thursday, 30% chance of showers, mostly in the afternoon, and a high of 58. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, my. I'm just about ready to pack away the bandanas and the vests and the heavy coats. No! I'm breaking them out. We're going to have snow maybe tomorrow. Holy smokes. Team up the dogs. Mush your huskies. Hey, don't forget, our weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they are, just like I said, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and they can help diagnose one of the common causes of vertigo. They really understand hearing. Please make an appointment today at 312-0957. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I said earlier that these Republicans and Democrats, they don't want to make any waves before the midterms in November, so they're basically not going to do a doggone thing. I was looking up a story thanks to Deanne. It's called Don't Expect Much Action from Congress Before the 2018 Midterms. And they said that this is called the dead zone period. Well, here's a little addition to the dead zone period. I suggest that we all call Risch, Crapo, Simpson, and Labrador and tell them, no, we're not in favor of them not doing anything. We're not in favor of saying they should get full pay for 7 months of a dead zone period. Do you get a dead zone period? No? I don't either. And they shouldn't either. I think it's time that we put the foot down and say, hey, whoa, wait a minute, Mike and Jim and the rest of you folks, you work for us. And that means you work for us or you don't get paid. And that's true with every state handing up a little bill of notice to these people saying, dead zone period? No. There's things that need to be done. Get to it. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There is some of the dumbest things yesterday. I've got to share this with you. That Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House spokesperson, and she was out and doing the Easter egg hunt at the White House. And I really respect her for what she did, because she called all the children together at the Easter egg roll yesterday at the White House. And she sat in a chair and she read the resurrection story about Jesus. The real meaning of Easter. She sat there like all the children's mom or their grandmom, and she read the resurrection story, and all of a sudden she is being assailed by the liberal Democrats and the media, and they absolutely went after her, and they were raising questions about a separation of church and state. And a few even suggested that talking about Jesus was not acceptable. What are your thoughts on this? No matter what they do, and Easter is not about chocolate, not about finding Easter eggs. Easter is about Jesus and the resurrection. And it's so silly, these Democrats and their attack on the White House, and especially White House spokesman Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Caller, good morning. Good to hear from you. Go ahead.
Good morning again. You know, last night I noticed that Laura Ingraham was not on. They had someone subbing for her.
Yeah.
Where is this thing going?
No. Let's lay it out like it is. She had, and I know a lot of people aren't going to buy into this, but she had a long-time planned vacation at this time. Her being gone from the airwaves had nothing to do with the stupidity of that liberal student at Parkland, Florida, David Hogg, and his assault on her to try to get rid of her sponsors and get her off the air. It had nothing to do with that. She was already planning and had planned a long-time vacation, and so she'll be back next week.
Oh, I'm so glad that you brought that out and made it very clear that that's what it was.
Yep.
Because I was concerned. I didn't listen to the radio much yesterday, and I didn't turn the news on till later. But that is good news to me, because I think she is the greatest.
Well, I'll tell you something. A lot of people thought that Fox was going to let her go. Not the case. Fox News sent a message out yesterday and said, we cannot and will not allow voices to be censored by agenda-driven intimidation efforts. And I congratulate Fox. Keith, I'm glad you brought it up. And by the way, I've got another call waiting, and then I've got to get out of here with a couple of good words. Thank you for your call again. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. Caller, quickly, I've got about a minute. Go ahead, please.
Well, what do you expect from a Democratic Party that booed God at a national convention?
Absolutely, and I think they're showing their true colors over and over again. Don't vote Democrat. Don't vote for the Democratic Party, because it's absolutely a party away from the values of America. There, I said it, and I'll stand behind it.
And I'll stand right beside you, not behind you, but beside you.
That's good, because the way the wind blew me over yesterday, that could be very dangerous.
Yeah, I bet it could.
You had 4 points on the ground and got blown over. Imagine what it's like with us guys with only 2 points.
Holy man, when it hit me yesterday, I thought, look out, I'm going to be like the Wizard of Oz. I'm going to be the Wicked Witch of the West.
Well, I thought I seen your Stetson come flying by.
It's enough, Doug. It's enough. I got to do a commercial, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, God bless everybody. Let's take care of our senior centers.
Hey, call earlier next time. I got a lot of things to mention to you.
All right.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Don't forget all 7 of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. New. Don't forget, because it's rolling to spring with a big spring tire sale. Wow. For all your driving this spring and summer, they've got the great tires on sale, like their very best car tire, the Ultra Z900. Ultimate in tire technology. You check it out today at all the Les Schwab Tire Centers. And don't forget the excellence in brake service, highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more, but they are so service-oriented in making sure you're taken care of. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Old Wheels over at the station has this good word for Tommy Alquist, and then he's going to take us up to CBS News. Oh, here we go on the merry-go-round of news. Zeb at the ranch. Okay, Wheels, thank you. Turn the orchestra off, thank you. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, we're going to have this good word for Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Do you need a dumpster there, Bunky? Well, I'll tell you what, if you're cleaning out the garage, or you're cleaning out the basement, or you're cleaning out your house, or like my case, this office, whew, what a chore. Anyway, you can get dumpsters in various sizes. They can deliver them to your premise, and then, of course, you can fill them up and they'll come get them. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them 734-6969. That number again, 734-6969. Western Waste Services. Excuse me. Little frog in the throat this morning. I'll try to get him out of there and send him back to the swamp. Don't forget to our friends with Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric with the Airvana, defined as the ultimate level of comfort that you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. When you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to a $1,700 rebate. Wow. Great way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or visit their website, ramseysonline.com. And also, again, a big thank you before we go to our guests for this half hour. Our thank yous go out to Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Good morning to Joel Heward, his family, and his staff as they serve you and your families, as they have for so many years right here in the Magic Valley, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. When there's the passing of a loved one, please call them. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Well, we have a gentleman that's never been on my program before, and we're looking forward to having him enter stage left and introduce himself. And he is running in the Maryland Democratic primary for the U.S. Senate. And we say a good morning to Dr. Jerome Siegel. Sir, good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you. I don't think it's morning here anymore, but morning where you are.
Well, I'll tell you what, you live back in Maryland. What kind of weather, before we get into the nuts and bolts of what we're going to talk about this morning, what's the weather like back there in Maryland right now?
It's kind of like, what happened to spring? It's sort of like, we get an early spring here, sometimes cherry blossoms at the beginning of March. It's cold.
I had heard that
I don't know what's going on.
I had heard that there was a snowstorm going up the East Coast, and so we had that unsettled weather start here again the other day, and we're supposed to get some more snow here in Idaho.
I can't believe it.
It's odd. Dr. Jerome Siegel, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for the Senate, and what is your number one stance as far as gun control is concerned. Give us a thumbnail sketch, if you would, please.
How much time do we have?
I'm going to give you probably about 19 minutes, so go ahead.
Okay. All right, so just a quick thing about who I am. Let's see. So I'm a PhD philosopher. I worked for 4 years for the Congress, actually for one of the most decent members of Congress that's ever served there, guy from Minneapolis. Then I went into the executive branch, and I worked in USAID for 10 years, first under the remains of the Carter administration and then in the Reagan administration. Oddly enough, my boss for the last 7 years was John Bolton. But in any event, I left the government actually because I got very involved with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which I've been involved in since 1982. And I started an organization called the Jewish Peace Lobby, which is an alternative to AIPAC, which is probably the second most powerful lobby in the country. And I played a role in bringing the PLO in from the cold and getting the PLO to recognize Israel's right to exist, and sort of continue to be very involved in trying to resolve that conflict. The thing that actually got me riled up about Ben Cardin, which preceded my knowledge of the march and so on, frankly, is I voted for this guy twice. And then last year or two, he started to do things that just amazed me. One of them, which you may be on his side, was that he voted against the nuclear deal with Iran. I saw that as essentially a vote for going to war with Iran. That's what Bibi Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, wanted to do. Better an American-led one than an Israeli, but if an American and Israeli-led would be second best. And I think that's insane. I think that you attack Iran and all the inspectors go out, they get kicked out, the deal is off, nobody knows what Iran is doing. The speculation is that they're going straight for nuclear weapons. Condoleezza Rice comes back in with what she said at the lead up to the Iraq war is, well, I don't know whether or not they're going for nuclear weapons or not, or got them, but do you want to find out we're wrong when the nuclear cloud is in the air?
Okay, now, Dr. Siegel.
Another argument for going in on the ground, well, it's going to be American troops that go on the ground.
Right.
And we spent $2 trillion in Iraq, and guess who did the dying? It wasn't the 1%.
Right. Dr. Siegel.
A bigger country with a real nuclear program. The Iraq thing was a fantasy. They didn't even have a program when we did that. Iran does have a program. So I think it's insane. But Cardin voted to kill that piece of legislation. He was one of 4 Democrats who did it. Now the Republicans did it out of just sheer stupidity because they opposed anything that Obama wanted. So you had every single Republican, 54 of them, not experts on Iran or anything else, if you ask me, but you had 54 of them voting against Obama because he was Obama.
Okay, now, I'm going to interrupt you now, Doctor. Don't ramble on, because I need to ask questions. Number one, are you on a speakerphone currently?
Yes.
Turn it off and talk into the handheld. You're not coming through. I don't allow speakerphones on this program, so turn that off and speak into the handheld.
Is this better?
Hold the phone and do not speak into the speakerphone. It's causing an echo.
All right, hold on.
All right.
How's that?
Well, speak into the speakerphone because I won't allow speakers. It causes too much of a hard time for me to try to hear. All right, now, can you hear me?
Oh, how's that? All right, my volume was way down. How's that?
All right, now, stay at that level and talk directly into the mouthpiece.
You want me on a landline? I've got a landline here. I don't know why we're using this.
Yeah, I'll have my engineer get your number and we'll call you back on a landline. I am not going to subject myself to not being able to hear you, and you need to hear me. So get the number to my engineer right now, and then he'll call you back. Wheels, get that from him, and then we'll have a commercial break and call back. I just absolutely will not sit here and wonder what's being said over a silly speakerphone. I hate those phones, and I wished every one of them would go over the Prime Bridge. While we're waiting for him to call us back, we also want to remind you about our friends at Ark Animal Hospital. And Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn at 678-1177. They have been voted Minnecache's best veterinary hospital for many years. And don't forget, they're a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all and they take care of them all to keep them healthy for you. Ark Animal Hospital with Dr. Bill and the crew waiting to serve you. Again, that telephone number, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Wheels, did we reestablish that call?
Yes, sir, we did. He's on the phone.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Jerome Siegel is on the air, and I just won't allow speakerphones. Can you hear me now, sir?
I can very well, thank you.
And you're coming through a lot better. I'll give you a word of advice on interviews. Don't use those. Let's get right to the crux of the matter. You are spending a lot of money to distribute 1 million leaflets, and you did at the March for Our Lives. Yeah. What is your stand on gun control? This is where I think you and I can have a good arbitration.
Now, you were talking about gun control independent of the March issues? You just want to know about gun control?
Well, I want to know where you stand and what you're doing and why you're spending so much of your own money.
Well, let me explain. Okay. What I was doing at the March was trying to bring together two groups of people suffering from gun violence, if you want to call it that. One is what brought people to the March, basically middle-class white kids who thought they had a safe childhood, who woke up one day and found the shooter in their school or in their concert. The other are lower-class, poor black and brown kids around the country who had the bad luck to be born into a 24/7 shooting gallery, and in much higher numbers actually are killed and terrorized their whole childhood. So the first thing I was trying to do is to say, hey, let's define this movement, which is just at the beginning, broadly, to the right of all children to a safe childhood.
Okay.
That was point one.
All right. Now, let me...
It had two sides. One side was how to address the problem of the cities and the kids in the cities, and the other had to do with how to address the problems faced by the kids, being stalked in the schools. Okay, on the cities, what I basically said is, look, it's going to take a decade or 2 decades to turn inner city Detroit or inner city Baltimore, into Tarrytown, New York. What we can do is something right away that'll have a bigger impact than any social program has ever had. And it's very simple. The kids are not in school for 20% of the year. Let's get them out of those cities for 20% of the year. Like middle-class kids, like rich kids, they don't hang around on the streets in 95-degree summers. They go to summer camp. So let's have, for poor kids in the 10 worst cities in America, free sleepaway camp. And in the first year, with that and doing the same thing, trips in spring and Christmas break, the first year we'll have a 20% deduction in this. And what I said is that this doesn't even deal with the guns. This doesn't have anything to do with the guns, and I argued that the NRA should, in fact, run with this and join with people like me, in fact, shoot this through Congress, raise the money from the business community, use tax deductions, not government programs, to do this. We'll basically have contributions to these camps for 10% expansion or 20% expansion, and you could have, even by this year, you could have 1 million kids added to the 11 million who are in camp. So that was side 1.1 of 7, but side 2 had more to do with the shootings, right? And what I said there is, let's stop this stupid debate that goes on about, is the question, arming the teachers and the best way to do that, or is the issue, having policemen in the schools, or is it having metal detectors? Why don't we do this? Stop pretending that we know what works. We don't. Instead, let's have a national commission where we know one thing about it, which is that its motivation is real. So a third of the people on the national commission are bereaved parents, another third are teachers, and another third are law enforcement. And they don't have to pick out the best thing. What they do is, with the help of, let's say, public policy schools like the Kennedy School or, Maryland's School of Public Affairs, good, solid people, let them serve as the staff. Commission comes up with 5 plausible options that are worth experimenting on. Okay? That's all it does. It doesn't choose between them. Then we give out vouchers to every school in the country, every school, and we say, on the local level, teachers and parents, you decide which of these 5 options you want in your school. And we go ahead and we do that. We cut off all this talk, which makes me just sick, all this blather, right? And instead, we do some experimenting, like a society that has some intelligence, and we monitor the experiments, and we find out what works.
Okay, now, wait a minute. Whoa. Let me jump in here, Doctor. Doctor, let me jump in here and insert some questions. I can't let you just ramble because I want to find out more of your stance.
Rambling.
No, wait a minute. Well, the word rambling is what I use on my program, and I didn't mean to insult you, but I will say it. I need to have time to come in and ask you questions. Now, number 1, what is your bottom line? It's great to say that you have 5 different points, but what are those points, and what is your ultimate goal? Is it complete gun control and gun confiscation? Go to the bottom line and explain that to me.
I'll answer your question. That seems to be your concern. No, I believe in the Second Amendment. I actually believe in people's right to guns. My father got out of Europe before the Holocaust. He was a Bundist. His family, his friends died in the Warsaw Ghetto. Going down, the ones who were lucky enough took a Nazi with them because they had a gun, but many of them couldn't get guns. So I've got no blanket hostility to guns. I just think it's stupid to imagine that just because people have a right, that a right is absolute. There are no rights that are absolute, because rights bump up against other rights. So every right has another right that it goes against. So anybody who thinks there's an absolute right to guns has got to explain why you've got a right to have your nuclear weapon and I've got a right to have mine, and the people whose lives would be killed in a nuclear explosion don't have a right to life. So absolutism is idiocy. On the other hand, I believe there is a right to have guns. It's a question of where the line is. My bottom line on this issue is results. What I'm sick of is talk. Talk radio, talk in Washington, talk all over the place. That's what I see going on in this country. And to tell you the truth, to me what we need is a political realignment in this country that distinguishes right and left. Doesn't matter. What matters is people who want to make change happen against problems that we recognize as horrible, and those people who are just talking, lip service in the Democratic Party, lip service in the Republican Party, lip service among right-wingers, left-wingers, libertarians. It's all crapola. I'm 74 years old. I'm a 10-year cancer survivor, and I don't have time for this anymore.
All right, Dr. Siegel, how would you have envisioned a solution before it happened at Parkland, Florida, at the school, the Douglas High School? What would you have said needed to be implemented and in place that would have stopped that shooting in Florida?
I don't know for sure. I would. That's what I'm saying. I've got some ideas, but I don't know. And you know what? Nobody knows. What you do is you pick out a few plausible things. You do them at across the country. Every school does something, and then you find out what works. You want my personal view? I don't think it's rocket science to prevent guns from coming into schools. Transparent backpacks might help. Kids having lockers in schools so they don't take backpacks home. They just leave all their stuff there. I think doing away with homework would be a good idea. Let them stay in school an extra hour, do their work there, and not take anything in and out of the schools. That would work. Metal detectors would work. A lot of things would work. The point is to start doing something, and we'll find out which works better than something else.
I agree with that, but now you mentioned earlier, and I need to pursue the point. I have the feeling that you're against having armed deputies or armed people and personnel in the schools. Why should...
to try it.
What's that?
To try it. I just don't. I think it's stupid to maintain that's the only way to go. So, in fact, I think the left should cut a deal with the right here, which is you come up with the two ideas that you think will work, let them come up with the two ideas that they think will work, and then we do all four of them, and we find out which works best. And we do it honestly.
Let me ask you this then.
All the other stuff, which I think is just a waste of time.
Let me ask you this question. Do you feel that in our society today, we have devoted enough time and effort and understanding for those that are mentally ill or have mental problems? No, I don't think we're doing nearly enough.
Issue. I think we're walking around with a country, 3/4 of the people are mentally ill. I can't tell you. Everybody I run into strikes me as so stupid that it's a kind of illness. It just hasn't been diagnosed.
So what is your bottom line in the time remaining?
I take it back. But that's really, emotionally, that's the way I feel these days, is that, my God, I'm telling you, I'm talking about the left, not because I think they're worse than the right, but just that my present endeavor is to get endorsements from some of the stupidest left-wing organizations I've ever run into. I'm an old peacenik, okay? I got into this stuff in 1965, going against the Vietnam War. And if you don't think the Vietnam War was a mistake, you just haven't been paying attention. Lyndon Johnson and Richard Nixon, neither of them, knew what they were doing there. And they just strung it along because neither one of them wanted to be the first president to lose a war. And we probably, 40 of the 50,000 American GIs that died there didn't have to die. And hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of Vietnamese died because these guys didn't want to take the political loss.
I was
one of the most horrible things that ever happened in American history.
All right, now I'm going to interrupt, and I use the term ramble. I've only got a few minutes left, and I want to ask you, what do you see happening as a good thing in regards to the money that you're spending with all of your leaflets that you spend at the March for Life? Are you seeing anybody come over to your side for more understanding of what you're trying to preach?
I don't know for sure, but this is about the 20th radio show I've spoken on, so I have, as a result of that, not that I didn't even know it was a media event, but it's become a media event, and I've now been heard by, many millions of people. So, and I'll tell you what, I haven't yet heard anybody who thought getting the kids into summer camp was a bad idea. I met a policeman who said, we've got a camp of our own that the police run for that. I just spoke to another right-wing radio station, and he told me about a camp that does that. It's all small size, but it confirms to me that it's a good idea. I sent a letter to someone at the NRA last week asking him if he'd meet me for lunch in Washington. He hasn't responded, but there's got to be someone there who understands that, hey, this might actually be good for the NRA to get on the right side of this thing, especially if there are things that can reduce deaths by 20% that don't even involve guns. I mean, you'd think that they would recognize that. But I'm waiting. I wrote my letter. I haven't gotten a response yet.
Well, I tell you what,
let me give you my website. Okay, it's got a lot of...
Yes, go ahead, please, quickly. I'm almost out of time.
SiegelforSenate.org.
All right.
SegalForSenate, SiegelforSenate.org.
Well, I wish you success on your thoughts and your premise on helping the kids go to a summer camp, and thank you for being on the program this morning, Dr. Jerome Siegel, and running for the Maryland Democratic primary. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Whew. Why am I tired? You never know till you get them on the air. Okay, thank you, Dr. Siegel. And hope the needle comes out of the grooves and the record stops for just a little bit. I got to admit I'm exhausted, and I didn't hardly get a word in edgewise. Let's take a look at Wheels. Have you got a good word for Bob Nonini? I need to rest.
Bob Nonini, candidate for lieutenant governor, a principled conservative, successful small business owner, legislator, and leader in Idaho. Bob Nonini has earned a 100% rating from the American Conservative Union and received an A+ rating from the National Rifle Association. Bob Nonini, Idaho roots, conservative values, proven results.
Hi, I'm Bob Nonini, and I'm passionate about becoming your next lieutenant governor. Being an Idaho native, I grew up understanding the values of hard work and dedication. Growing our economy means providing quality, affordable health care to everyone. I opposed Obamacare because I know that here in Idaho, we can and will do better. Competition and transparency for consumers is key to keeping our health care costs low. Idaho needs strong leaders who allow their faith, experience, and integrity to do what is necessary in creating a better life for our residents. Experience matters. Experience counts. The choice is clear. Idaho needs Nonini on May 15th.
Paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor. R. Scott Hogue, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. My wife got a kick out of that last interview. She's sitting here still giggling.
Hey, sir.
Yes.
Well, Jerry didn't want to say this himself, but I figured I would because I feel the same.
Well, hurry.
I wonder how much, I wonder every day how much pot that guy smokes.
I have no idea, but once he starts rambling, I had to shut him down, but he was insulted by me saying he was rambling. Let me tell you, on my program, we call it like it is. Wheels, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, I'm tired from listening to him. Okay, I also want to remind you about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with our dear friend Jeff and the entire crew over at 459 Overland in Burley. Lee's Furniture just got a brand new shipment of carpeting and luxury vinyl planks. Oh, yes. And they also have all the sofas and the love seats and the recliners. Anything and everything you need is right there at Lee's Furniture. And all the bedroom sets, I'm telling you, you better stop in today. Spruce up for springtime at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Wow, what an interesting morning this has turned into. And right now, also, I quickly want to remind you about Let's Ride. Nick and the whole crew over there at Let's Ride at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, open Saturdays, 9 to 4. They've got all the four-wheelers, all the side-by-sides. They got a whole showroom full of all the good fun that you can have outdoors in Idaho. Man, oh man, and a great accessory department and, of course, a great service department taking care of you at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. This is where the fun is sold. Well, my goodness, the trumpets sound, and in she walks like the queen, and here she is, the queen of gardening, Vicki at Vicki's Country Garden. How are you?
I'm just fine, Zeb. Sounds like you've had a good time this morning.
No, not really. One of the things I hate on this program is when I get a guest I've never talked to before, and they go on and on, like all of a sudden they got plugged in, and boy, they're going to use every ounce of electricity to keep on rolling.
Yeah, that happens, that's for sure.
Well, how have you been? Did you get through the winter time all right?
We did. We've come through the winter. We're ready for spring. And, you can just shut that wind off anytime. I had all that I wanted yesterday. I don't know about anybody else, but I was real sick of it real quick.
Did you hear what happened to me yesterday?
No.
I tipped over.
You tipped over?
I did.
Oh, no.
I was out feeding my steers last night, and a gust of wind hit me, and it was like the old laugh-in TV show with the guy tipping over on the tricycle.
Oh, heavens. That was a gust of wind.
Well, now, wait a minute, Miss Vicki. What's this I hear about you celebrating 21 years at Vicki's Country Garden?
Yeah, how about that?
Wow, that's impressive.
You'd think I'd learn sooner or later, wouldn't you?
Well, you are the guru when it comes to gardening. And what about this time of the year? It's kind of unsettled, and you might even see snow tomorrow, and then who knows for the rest of the week. What about our gardens? Is it too early to start planting those?
Well, the only thing you can really go into gardens with right now is your, peas and onions and lettuce and radishes and the cold crops, the ones that like the cool weather. Don't get too carried away on getting the tomatoes and all that kind of stuff in, because that ground temperature is still so cold. And I was at 15 at my house this morning, so I know that brought that ground temperature right back down again. And that is the whole key to to your garden, is the ground temperature. So there are things that can go in right now. Spinach likes cold weather. Onions will do fine in the cold weather. Peas do great. You can put in your beets, things of that nature. But kind of just, carrots. But, stay clear of the warm weather stuff yet. It's just, I don't care if it's 65 degrees for 3 days. That's not warm enough to put out anything else.
Oh, no, let me ask you, does the location of the garden have a lot to do with whether you should plant or not? And the reason I say that is, if you've got a garden where there's going to be a lot of afternoon shade from the trees or something, I would imagine it's not really going to get a chance to warm up too much.
It's not, and that's going to slow your ground temperatures down a lot. Later on in the summer, that can sometimes be a benefit to you because your plants don't struggle in the heat as fast. But you just have to plant a little later in the spring and let that ground temperature come up. If you've got something that you really want to get in early and you want to bring that ground temperature up, you can take your weed mat or the black weed mat, stake it down over your garden, and let the sun hit that and warm it up.
Oh, okay.
That brings that ground temperature. If people are using walls of water and they're thinking about doing walls of water for their tomatoes and that, get them up now, get the water in them, get them out there, close the tops on them, and let them set for about 2 weeks.
Okay. So it's kind of like...
The sun will work it'll hit that water, it'll warm that ground, and then when you put that poor little tomato in there, it won't just go, dang, it's really cold down here.
Now, wait a minute, Vicki. You know as well as I do, we've known each other for a long time. Dang? Really?
I'm trying to be nice, Deb.
Oh, isn't doing something like that kind of like putting an electric blanket on a bed?
Yeah. Same. You just got to do things to warm that ground up, and anything black plastic, black weed mat, whatever, will bring that ground temperature up. That type of thing. But for tomatoes, a lot of people are wanting to do their walls of water, and like I say, get them out at least 2 weeks before you plant into them.
Okay.
And then you've got ground temperatures that will accommodate your plants that you're putting in there.
I already have had a person send me a little question for our gardening program, and they said, how deep does a person plow or go down to plant a garden?
Well, most people's rototillers only drop down in 6 to 8 inches, which is fine. It's always best if you see the farmers, they drop those big plows in and they roll 14, 18 inches, and that keeps that soil turning. But most garden rototillers don't go that deep. So go as deep as you can, either late in the fall or early in the spring, because that's what keeps that ground turning, and you keep getting the good soil coming up, and it just works out best. You want to loosen that ground up so those roots can go down. With a rototiller, if you can go through and loosen it up really nice, about 8 inches, pretty much any of your crops will work in that type of a situation.
Okay. Now, what about, and again, I'm not a gardener, but I've learned a lot from you over the years, and that's why we call this Gardening for Idiots. It was named after me. But what about once you plow, you don't want to go putting any fertilizer on right away, do you?
You can either till your fertilizer into that top 4 or 5 inches. If you're doing that, compost, you want to till that into your top 6 inches. If you're plowing deep, then come back in across with a finer rototiller or something like that, and put your compost on, and your fertilizers and that type of thing. It never hurts to put some fertilizer down in the soil for those plants to grab a hold of.
Okay. Now, when you say fertilizer, and you know what I did a couple of years ago, I put way too much fertilizer on my stuff. How much, what do they know is too much, too little, or how much do they use? How do they know?
Well, it kind of depends on what they're using. If they're using a commercial fertilizer, you want to just broadcast it on and kind of follow, the directions on the bag, but you don't want to get it on too heavy, because most commercials commercial fertilizers have a kind of a timed release situation on them. If you're using manure, that's the one that can really get you in trouble. It's excellent product. You got to make sure you know what kind you're using. Horse manure, which I think is what you used, is the cooler of the manure, but you still don't want to. It's best to put fresh manure on in the fall and flip it over and until it in, and then plant into it in the spring.
Okay.
One you got to be real careful of, and a lot of people are raising chickens right now, and that's chicken manure. That's hot.
Oh.
You use about a third as much chicken manure as you do cow manure or horse manure.
Boy, you know, this broadcast with fertilizer, it's fitting on my show.
We won't go there, Zeb.
So
we all know where we're headed on that.
Yes, we do, and it's a dead-end road. But anyway, you really...
90 miles an hour down a dead-end road.
Yeah, and there's a whole ton of bricks waiting for us. Anyway, when you use fertilizer, how do they know? Can they call you and ask how much is too much or too little?
Well, yeah, and it depends on how deep you're tilling it in, too. You know, you don't want to just go out there and put 3 inches of fertilizer on and till it down in 3 inches, because you're going to burn the crap out of everything.
Okay.
Literally.
Boy, I'm sure glad that the verbiage on this program is blunt and to the point.
But you just have to, you know, you have to get, you got to get a mix on when you're using manure fertilizer. It's like, if you're doing it, it's more or less like 3 parts dirt, 1 part manure.
Okay.
Is a kind of a ratio you can kind of, but like I say, chicken manure, turkey manure, that is hot. And just cut that way back, because you'll get the same results with, like, say, for instance, if you're putting a cup of fertilizer on, a third of a cup of chicken manure will do the same as a full cup of anything else.
Okay. I would hate to be the person that's filling the cup. Anyway, you know, one thing I noticed on this little information sheet I got, it said pansies are ready to plant. Are you kidding me?
Oh, the pansies love this weather. They're out here. They took that 15 degrees last night, and they're just perfect sitting out here on my deal. They're just ready to go.
How did they get the name pansy?
A pansy. They should be called toughies, not pansies.
That's exactly right.
They are the toughest little plant out there.
Okay, so they can plant the pansies now.
You bet. They love it this time of year.
All right.
They want some early spring color. That's the little guy to go with. It'll just start blooming, and it just doesn't like it when it gets hot.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you plant them in the shaded areas, because they like the early spring sun. Like right now, then you can pull them out and put petunias in and have a longer flowering season.
Okay.
Pull them out of the sun, put them in the shade, and they'll keep right on going.
All right. Now, I also was told, Deanne was talking to me, and she said that now's the time to address perhaps the problem with fungus among us on the trees.
Oh, yeah. Get your fruit trees all, get some fungicide on, get your dormant oil on, come back in across with a good fungicide on those trees. Anything that's left on those branches, you can get rid of a bunch of fungus if you'll hit it with a good strong fungicide a couple of times early in the spring.
Okay.
A lot of times it's left laying on the branches. When it gets warm, that just turns it on, turns the heat up, and away it goes, and then you're fighting it for sure. But it's a good thing, roses, all that kind of stuff.
All right.
Dormant oil and fungicide's a real good thing to use right now.
Okay. Now, Deanne also told me that you've got a new potato or potato, and it's called the huckleberry. What in the world is a huckleberry potato?
It's called Huckleberry Gold, and it's a purple potato with a real light yellow meat to it. You cut it open and it's real golden yellow in the middle of it.
Oh.
They've got a good flavor. They're brand new out. They seem to. I tried them the other day. They've got a good flavor. We don't have a lot of them, but we're trying a few of them, and we've got them in little bags. But they're really kind of pretty. So.
Okay.
They're like a pretty potato.
Well, I mean, I really had never dated one, but anyway.
Got a good personality.
Okay. Double date with its sister. Anyway, how many potato varieties are there?
Well, we carry 3 red potatoes. We have the Pontiac, the Lesotho, and the dark red Norland. Then we have the Yukon Gold. We have the Russet. Burbank, the standard one for this area. We have a German Butterball and the Huckleberry Gold this year.
a German Butterball? It sounds like an overweight weightlifter.
It does, doesn't it? And it's a yellow potato, kind of like your Yukon Gold.
Oh, my. Well, now, this is the first program of what I hope will turn into another program next week because of the way things went today. But what are other tips that you want to leave people with as food for thought for this morning?
Okay, well, you've got a lot of weeds showing up right now. In your lawn, you've got the early dandelions, and you've got the little that little puncture vine miserable stuff that's showing up. The weed-free zone is the chemical to use on all of that right now. It's for broadleaf, and you can use it down to 45 degrees. Roundup 2,4-D have to be above 65. In these cool temperatures, you can get a jump on the weeds in your lawn and around your yard and things like that with the weed-free zone because of the cool temperatures that it'll work in.
Okay. Is there a real problem, like all of a sudden, and we're capable of having it happen here, Vicki? We might be seeing highs today of 50, tomorrow maybe in the 40s, and then all of a sudden zip up to 70. What does that do to the plants?
It's a real problem with, it is, but there's nothing we can do about it. You just have to kind of just be careful. Don't get too carried away on those warm days of getting something out that's going to get froze.
Okay.
Perennials can be put out now. I've got fruit trees that'll be coming in here in about 10 days. Those are all things that can go in, trees, shrubs, that kind of thing. But just don't get too carried away on your little annuals and things like that because they will freeze.
Okay, now we have, believe it or not, a caller. It's probably the FCC. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air.
You're safe for now.
Okay.
Vicki, I got a question for you.
Okay.
I got my sprayer all ready to go. Is it good to do it this morning when it's really cold like this?
You want to let the temperatures get up. If you're doing the weed-free zone, you want to let the temperatures get up to that 45-degree range before you go out and spray.
Otherwise, it doesn't do much good.
Yeah, it can be a little bit too cold. If you start spraying and it's about 40, 45 degrees, you'll be all right because it'll be warming up after that. But, don't get too carried away on the real cold temperatures.
Well, that's really good news. Now, can you turn it up to 45 so I can get this done?
There you go. I'm working on that.
All right.
I'm doing a pretty good job out there.
All right, caller. Just go out and...
hear you again, Vicki. Look forward to hearing you again if the other guy on the line doesn't, mess you up.
The other guy on the line's paying the bills here, buddy. Thank you very much. Oh.
You guys have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, now, we really want to invite really good questions for Vicki on this program every Tuesday. And leading up to next week, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, Vicki. What are we going to tell everybody about?
Well, I'm sure we'll have some new product that we can talk about. We've got some new petunia colors that are pretty spectacular. Just invite everybody in to come in, walk through the greenhouses, and really get a dose of spring fever in there where it's about 85 degrees in those greenhouses.
Well, I tell you what, honestly, I say like Keith did a minute ago, it's such a treat to hear you back on the program again. And why don't you at this time tell everybody what you have over there at Vicki's Country Garden and what they need to know as far as your hours are concerned. Go ahead and give us all that.
Okay, well, we're here basically every day now from about 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Saturdays we are running usually about 9 to 3 or 4. Hours will be extending as the season goes. We are starting to sell the baskets are ready. People are tagging them already. So if there's a certain color you want, it's a good time to get in and get your name on them. And we've got a full line of chemicals for everything you're going to need. Plus, we're getting our tomatoes all planted, peppers. We've got full line of bulk seed, so don't hesitate. We've got all the onions, potatoes, corn, peas, beans, everything you need for a garden. So just come on over and see us.
Absolutely, and every Tuesday at 9:30, Vicky's going to be with me, Zeb Bell, and we're going to be broadcasting fertilizer, right?
That's right, we are. We're going to be shooting the fertilizer, aren't we?
Oh, Vicky's Country Garden with the lovely Miss Vicky at 185 South, 600 West DePaul. Number to call, 438-5663. And as she takes her little handkerchief and wipes her brow, she said, "Thank you, Zeb, and goodbye." Right, Vicky?
That's right, Zeb, exactly.
Have a great week. Thank you so much.
All right, stay upright.
I will. Thank you. The lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. And this lady is just so special. She understands and knows all about gardening. And if you have any questions about gardening, you can send them to me at zebattheranch@hotmail.com. Once again, Zeb at the Ranch. Those are 4 words, ZEBATTHERANCH, then the @ hotmail.com. And we'll put them on the air starting again next week at 9:30 with Vicky's Country Garden. Really a nice lady. Holy cow, we got to get the weather forecast on. And the weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And, of course, they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. People that have a farm or a ranch or a business, they really appreciate what they can do as far as tax return preparation, tax planning, payroll services, retirement planning, and so much more. They will help. They can help you. Please get a hold of them in Burley and Rupert, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's the weather.
We're actually going to see some sunshine today and winds definitely at a minimum. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies, expecting a high of 52. Slightly breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 8 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low of 37. We do have a slight chance of rain showers for tonight and for tomorrow. 20% chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 58, and winds are going to be picking up. For Wednesday night, 20% chance of showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy and 40. And then for Thursday, 30% chance of showers, mostly in the afternoon, and a high of 58. That's your weather for Zeb.
Oh, thank you. It doesn't sound like it's going to settle in and be like spring. She said snow maybe tomorrow. Anyway, our weather brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And, you know, they can help so many folks, whether you're in agriculture, manufacturing, food services, whatever the case might be, people starting a business or maybe wanting to expand a business, get a hold of them and let them help. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. I received a notice via the internet yesterday that the Cassia schools have opted to hire superintendent of schools by the name of Dr. James Shank. As you know, they had kind of a meet and greet on Monday, and this press release says a weighty decision combined with hours of phone calls, conversations, meetings, and research, and according to board member Bruce Thompson, led the Cassia County School Board to offer the position of superintendent of schools to Dr. James Shank. And Dr. Shank comes to Cassia County by way of Coupeville, Washington, where he has been the superintendent of schools for the last 5 years. And he will replace retiring superintendent, my friend and yours, Galen Smyer. So we say adios to a dear friend, Galen Smyer, and we say welcome to the area to Dr. James Shank, who will now be the new Cassia County superintendent. So congratulations. Also, we want to say to our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, nice job. Nice job serving everybody with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, and so much more. They are really dedicated and responsive to your needs. So all you need to do is take the initiative, make a call at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert, the professionals. I got time for a call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, by the way, it's been kind of a fun thing to listen to. I use the word fun. I shouldn't have said that. It's been interesting to listen to the Democrats kind of backtrack and say, well, we're not preaching the repeal of the Second Amendment. Oh, no, we believe in gun ownership. Well, listen to this. DNC Vice Chairman for Civic Engagement and Voter Protection, boy, that's a handle, Karen Carter Peterson, had a Twitter when she said, repeal the Second Amendment. So, this is a thought. It's the underlying thought. They want to get rid of guns, and the Democrats don't have backbone enough to stand up and admit that's one of their major motives, is to not only repeal the Second Amendment, but also gun confiscation. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you. Quickly, I've got 1 minute. Go ahead.
I want to reiterate what I said the other day on the radio about Cecil Andrus being the name of our White Clouds area.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most disgusting thing that they could have done, and it was sponsored by our own senator, or representative, you know who.
Yeah, well, I'm not in favor of any name changes. When it gets to name changes, there's been so many people on the left and the liberals that want to take away certain names because they find them offensive, etc. Leave it alone. White Clouds. That's the way I see it. That's the way people know it. I absolutely don't think we need to incur any more wrath or any more verbiage on this subject. I'm not in favor of it at all. Keith, I've got a good word I've got to get in here now for our friends with the campaign for Tommy Alquist, and then I've got to get to the news. So thank you very much for your call.
You bet.
All right. We're going to take a little break. Dr. History's coming up next half hour. I look forward to having him on the air as usual. And right now, these good words for Tommy Alquist, and then Wheels is going to take us right up to CBS News. Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning, and it's Tuesday, April 3rd, and that means in just a moment, Dr. History, so stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch, of course, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big spring tire sale right now, and, of course, also some of our great advertisers, like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Don't forget Airvana is it Airvana or Airvana? Is defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And when you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or go to their website at ramseysonline.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the entourage has settled in the living room and resting as they wait for their superior. And here he is, Dr. History. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
I'm good, Peachy. How are you?
I'm great.
What is going on in your world? Got a little sore throat this morning,
well, just a little hoarse, I like to...
That's a little pony.
Add a little variety to my voice,
Okay, kind of gives you that Clark Gable sound.
Yeah, Well, I look a lot like him, too,
Uh-huh. I can walk without crutches, too. There's the cough. I tell you what, tip the mic up just... There you go.
How's
perfect.
that?
You're rolling. What are we going to talk about today?
Okay, Zeb, got a question for you.
I've got the answer.
There's a special hideout that was famous for certain two famous outlaws, and where was that place?
Hole in the Wall.
Exactly.
Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid.
And we're going to talk about, not so much about them, we're going to talk about the Hole in the Wall and some of the other guys that hid out there, too.
You know, no, logistically and geographically, it wasn't that far from here.
No, and, you know, it's kind of in the middle of Wyoming, kind of, but you know what? I found a little discrepancy there. There are one source said it was in Colorado.
No.
And it's everything I've read, it was in kind of the northern part of Wyoming.
I heard mostly that the Hole in the Wall was supposed to be in the northwestern portion.
Right.
And because there are stories of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid coming up from Utah and going up into Wyoming to the Hole in the Wall.
Right. And that's...
where did you hear Colorado?
I just, I do research, and anyway...
Maybe they want it as a tourist attraction.
Maybe, but everything else points to Wyoming.
Okay.
So, but anyway, in fact, the Hole in the Wall is located in what they call the Bighorn Mountains of Johnson County in northern Wyoming.
They had a lot of trouble in Johnson County.
They did. But the site was used in the late 19th century by the Hole in the Wall gang and a group of cattle rustlers and other outlaws, which included Kid Curry, Blackjack Ketchum, and, of course, Butch Cassidy's Wild Bunch.
Wasn't Blackjack Ketchum originally from our state of Idaho? Didn't you tell me that
I
one
told
time?
a story about him a long time ago. But
he was a stage robber.
He got hung.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he had an uneventful happening until then.
Yes. But anyway, so the Hole in the Wall is actually it's in the middle of Wyoming, and they've actually moved an old cabin that was built there into Cody, Wyoming. Now, Cody's where they have that big Buffalo Bill Museum.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, this area was great. It was remote. It was secluded. It was easily defended because of its narrow passes and impossible for lawmen to approach without alerting the outlaws. So, from the late 1860s to around 1910, the pass was used frequently by a whole bunch of outlaw gangs, not just the Wild Bunch.
Did other people know that location was there?
Yeah, I think they did because the law wouldn't go in there.
They wouldn't go in?
No.
Oh.
But like I says, there were a number of outlaw gangs, but eventually it kind of faded into history with gangs using it less frequently. But at its height, it featured several cabins the gangs used to go and actually spend the winter there. They actually had cabins to live in during the winter.
Wow.
They had a livery stable, a corral, a livestock. They had supplies.
Kind of like a ski resort.
Yeah, and each gang contributing to the upkeep of the site.
Holy
so they
smokes.
kind of had this organization sort
So
of.
if they didn't pay their dues, they had to
were
go
out.
rob a bank.
They were out.
Oh, okay.
But the Hole in the Wall gang was not simply one large organized gang of outlaws, but rather was made up of several separate gangs, all operating out of the Hole in the Wall.
I'll be darned.
Okay, they used it as their base of operations, but the gangs formed what we would call a coalition, okay, each planning and carrying out its own robberies with very little interaction with the other gangs. So you got these separate entities, they're all staying in the same area, but they kind of do their own thing. Okay.
Oh, so in other words, if you and I were in a gang, we'd plan to rob a bank and we'd tell the other ones to leave our bank alone.
Yeah, we'd say, I guess, we might do that, but at times members of one gang would ride along with other gangs, but usually each gang kind of operated separately, meeting up only when they were each at the hideout at the same time. So they'd be gone and then back and gone and back. So. But several posses trailed outlaws to the location, and there were several shootouts as the posses attempted to enter, but all resulting in the posses being beaten. They never could get in there and get them. They had to withdraw. And no lawmen ever successfully entered into the capture of the outlaws. During more than 50 years of active existence, nor were any lawmen attempting to infiltrate it by use of undercover techniques. So nobody tried to pretend like they were an outlaw and try to sneak in.
Well, this geographically must have been a tough road to hoe to get in one way. I mean, is that the only way?
I looked it up on the internet, and it doesn't look that difficult. I mean, it's in fact, there's a ranch right there now that I saw a picture of, and it doesn't look like it'd be that hard to get in there.
You know what? Let's do some study on that.
Okay.
And next week we'll hold the picture up to the camera.
Okay. But anyway, the encampment operated with a steady stream of outlaw gangs going in and out from the late 1860s to the early 20th century. But by 1910, there were very few outlaws using it, and it eventually faded into history. And as I mentioned, one of the cabins used by Butch Cassidy still exists, and that's the one that they've moved into Cody, Wyoming.
I didn't know that.
So, but let's just go through. I've got a list of some of the outlaws.
Okay, the bad guys.
The outlaws that were in there. So, but let me give you this description of it, and this might help a little better to understand why it was easily,
all right.
This hole in the wall seemingly was an impenetrable fortress of towering cliffs, deep gorges, and mountain retreats. And this was the hideout of the last great outlaw bands, the Wild Bunch. And those who belonged to the infamous band, they knew the path to get into the hideout.
Yeah.
But again, when I looked at it on the map, it did not look that difficult to get in there.
How big an area was it?
To me, it was a large area. Because the picture I looked at on the internet had a ranch with corrals and buildings and outbuildings and one thing and another. So I'm going to see if I can find more pictures to get a little better idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, the hundreds of members of the Wild Bunch were part of kind of a loose group of mostly cowboys who turned to outlaw following the disastrous blizzards of 1888. After the blizzards drastically reduced the great herds of cattle in the West and caused the collapse of thousands of small ranches, a lot of the owners and their hands turned to whatever they had to do to survive. Well, that was crime, rustling cattle, robbing banks. A lot of them turned into crime, and they would drift into the hole in the wall when the great posses were after them, and that was their refuge. But they lived in huts and small cabins built on this kind of a small plateau. The Wild Bunch members worked together, or sometimes they would go alone, and again, occasionally joining larger bands of outlaws. But the most notorious Wild Bunch members were the McCarty brothers, George Flatnose Curry, Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, Ben, the tall Texan Kilpatrick, Harry Logan, William Carver, Ellsworth Lay, O.C. Hanks, Harry Tracy. Some of those I don't recognize, but
they did a movie on Harry Tracy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Bruce Dern starred in that movie.
Oh, he would have been good at that.
Yeah. And I saw that just recently on the Cowboy Channel.
So anyway, this was famous members that continued to come back to the hole in the wall. But beyond the superstar bandits, the most notable of many outlaws who rode in and out of the hole in the wall for 20 years was classified as members of the Wild Bunch.
Did they have armed guards at the entrance?
I'm only going to assume they probably did. Yeah. I would think they would have to have lookouts. So let me go through some of these guys, okay, and their stories.
All right.
First guy is a guy by the name of Dave Atkins, okay? He was a ranch hand who turned to train robbery and murder while in his mid-20s. He was fast on the draw, but backed down twice from pulling his gun on the Sundance Kid. On one occasion, Atkins made fun of the kid because of his preference for Ralston's cereal food. Now, you don't make fun of the Sundance Kid. All right?
Is that right?
No.
I didn't read that.
Sundance finished his bowl of cereal, stood up, and gave a speech about the healthy properties of this Ralston cereal.
And they still make it today.
He then invited Atkins to, while resting his hands on his two holstered six guns, to have a seat and have a bowl of cereal. Atkins reluctantly sat down, ate some of the cereal,
and enjoyed it,
and quickly agreed with the kid that it was the best tasting food he'd ever eaten.
Really?
Well, here's the Sundance Kid standing there with his hand on two pistols.
Yeah.
I think he'd eat pretty much whatever he...
And I bet he asked for seconds.
He may have done. All right, our next guy's a guy by the name of Jack Bennett. He was a freight man who brought the Wild Bunch supplies to the hole in wall and occasionally rode with some of its members in various holdups. And in March of 1898, a posse caught Bennett and lynched him from the crossbars of a Wyoming ranch.
Oh, man.
That was the end of him.
Yeah.
Here's the next guy, Laughing Sam Carey.
Laughing Sam.
And he received his ironic name because he never smiled and displayed a mean streak that was often lethal. Carey, one of the first to use hole in the wall as a hideout, began robbing trains and banks in the late 1880s with some guys called the Taylor brothers. Well, The Carey operated throughout Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, just to wherever he wanted to go. But Carey's gang was shot to pieces by citizens in Spearfish, South Dakota.
Oh, my.
He alone survived, riding back to the hole in the wall, where another Wild Bunch member pried 3 bullets out of his body.
3
bullets out of his body. He rested for a week, then rode out to rob another bank.
Tough bird.
Now, I'm not sure what kind of surgical instruments they used to pull those bullets out, but I don't think it was probably sterile.
A week later?
Yeah, then he rode off.
Wow.
So here's another guy by the name of Joseph Chancellor. Born in Texas, made his reputation as a gunfighter in Oklahoma. He was caught rustling cattle and was sent to the penitentiary in Santa Fe. He was released. The 37-year-old Chancellor drifted into Hole in the Wall about 1904, and he was so addicted to cigarettes that his fingers were completely stained yellow, and he got up several times each night to smoke a dozen or so cigarettes before going back to sleep.
A dozen?
Now, you got to be, that's a pretty good addiction, don't you
I
think?
would say he had a nicotine addiction.
Yeah. Okay, next guy. His name was William Cruzon. Cruzon. He was 33 in 1901 when he arrived at the Hole in the Wall after serving several years in prison for rustling and robbery. But he preferred to commit robberies alone and was shot to death in 1905 while trying to rob a train by himself.
How do you go about robbing a train by yourself? And number one, how do you stop the train?
I don't know. You wouldn't lay in the middle of the tracks, would you?
You and I have talked about this in the past. The dumbest movies in the world are Western movies where one guy gets his horse on the tracks and goes, Stop!
Yeah. Okay, so our next guy, Frank Pegleg Elliott.
Now you're making fun of me.
Was 21 when he reached Hole in the Wall. Okay, and he met a guy by the name of Robert Eldridge, another cowboy turned horse thief and cattle thief. Well, these two rode out to rob a train in 1891. They were trapped by a posse and shot to death.
Oh,
so
they didn't have a good career.
So the Hole in the Wall is not doing real good success-wise.
Losing a lot of population.
Yeah, they are. Well, okay, here's another guy, Swede Johnson, a pathological murderer, rode into the Hole in the Wall in 1898. Willie Strang was a young 17-year-old boy who was kind of a strange little duck. But anyway, as a
little
joke.
Duck?
Well, little guy, anyway. But he thought it'd be funny to dump a pitcher of water on Johnson.
Uh-oh.
Johnson went crazy, emptied his 6-gun into this little 17-year-old, killed him.
Wow.
But for his murder, Johnson was actually tracked down and sent to the Wyoming State Prison. So somehow the word got out, and somehow they were able to get him when he was out of the Hole in the Wall.
Wow.
Now, here's another guy, Bob Lee. He was a cousin of Harvey Logan, was one of the first outlaws to ride into the Hole in the Wall. He later brought the Logans, and Harvey Logan became one of the most feared members of the Wild Bunch and its worst 6-gun killer. And Lee participated in several robberies and was later sent to prison. So again, the longevity of these guys wasn't great.
Some of those guys had a really short fuse.
They did. They did. Now, another guy by the name of Jesse Lindsay. He was a horse thief, ex-convict. He rode into the Hole in the Wall about 1899. He committed some minor robberies, but he did not have the stomach for the kind of train robberies committed by Butch Cassidy and the others.
What did they do that was so upsetting to him?
Especially since they used dynamite to blow open the locked open express cars. And this guy just basically vanished in 1901. So don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
Next guy is a guy named James Lowe. 32-year-old train robbery. When he arrived in the Hole in the Wall, he led a bunch of raids against trains and banks and was killed by lawmen.
No kidding.
Next guy, Tom O'Day, a hard-case cowboy from Wyoming, joined the Wild Bunch in 1899, participated in several bank robberies. Occasionally he actually rode with Butch Cassidy, but usually he operated as a lone outlaw, which... you'll like this, Zeb. It pleased the other members of the Wild Bunch because O'Day seldom bathed and reportedly, quote, smelled like a skunk most of the time. So, there were standards even back then of cleanliness of some kind.
Among thieves.
Yeah, but anyway, O'Day attempted to rob the bank in Casper, Wyoming, was arrested and sent to prison, which I wouldn't have wanted to be the cellmate of him.
Ooh.
Anyway, okay, the next guy by the name of Will Roberts. He was a cowboy turned gunman and outlaw, and he used the alias name of Dixon. And he robbed a bunch of banks and trains before he was captured, sent to prison, and he was one of the last important members of the Wild Bunch, which pretty much was done by 1910.
Really?
The Wild Bunch.
You realize that's only a few years before you were born?
And less for you.
Yeah.
All right, the next guy, his name was Matt Warner, one of the original inhabitants of the Hole in the Wall.
I see.
He participated in several holdups, but retired early from being an outlaw. However, he maintained a sort of a general store and hotel in the Hole in the Wall.
No.
He sold supplies to the outlaws, offering them the necessities. He later wrote a fine account, a book called The Wild Bunch, and telling about. But he made a business of catering to the outlaws.
Did he make all of his money to buy and have that hotel through bank robberies?
I don't know. It says he retired early, so he must have had some money.
Crime pays.
Yeah. So, but at this point, little remains of the old hole-in-the-wall hideout used by the Wild Bunch, except there's a few skeletal remains of the few cabins or shacks.
Really?
Little is left to prove that the worst criminals in the U.S. ever inhabited this barren mountainous area. And when they were present, however, no lawman or posse dared to enter the hole-in-the-wall. The peace officers of the day estimated that as many as 100 to 200 outlaws were hidden in this recesses of the hole-in-the-wall, and basically is an army of ruthless killers. And you can imagine there's no sheriff or anybody that's going to want to even go in there. Even maybe the Pinkertons.
Now you know what I'm going to ask. You figured it out. How did they know who was a lawman or not?
That's a great question.
That's why I asked you, Dr. History.
But earlier in the story, I told you nobody dared pretend to be an outlaw and go in there.
Oh.
Because obviously if they found out somehow, and you know how it was back then, somebody might write in there and say, oh yeah, I know that guy, he was a sheriff over in somewhere.
And that might not be good for the supper table.
No, he may not be sitting down.
Yeah.
He may be laying down.
Yeah, horizontal.
Yeah. But of course, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, I mean,
they weren't that bad of people though, were they?
They really weren't. And it's been a long time since I've done a story on either one of them. I might have to pull them out of the archives and do a story on just those two guys. But
Butch Cassidy's real name was Harry Lambaugh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was...
No, wait a minute. No, the Sundance Kid was Harry Lambaugh.
That's right.
And I've got it right here. Butch Cassidy was Leroy Parker.
Leroy Parker.
Yes.
Yes, how I could forget.
But let me just show you, if I can find it again.
Their pictures?
The pictures.
Yeah.
Well, this is the pictures of some of the outlaws that we talked about.
Oh, man. Some of those dudes look a little rough and tough.
Yeah.
Now, there's one guy, go from the top left down and over one. He's got a mustache over there. You see, he looks like some of those Hollywood actors.
Ben Kilpatrick. Some of these guys were good-looking guys. I mean,
now wait a minute. Maybe to you, not me.
Well, of course, Butch Cassidy was Paul Newman, right?
They were common-looking guys. I mean, they didn't look like they were going to have a dastardly deed.
Right. I mean, there's some guys you look at them and think that guy is bad news.
There's a couple in there that look a little rough.
Yeah. This Tom O'Day, he looks rough.
Of course, we saw a picture of you the other day, too.
And I just looked as honest as the day is long.
Yep, that's true. But, really, the outlaws, what did they have or own? I mean, when they got all done with train robberies and stagecoach robberies and bank robberies, did they ever have anything?
Most of them did exactly what all of them did.
Spend it.
They go into town, they have a great time, they blow it all, then they're out of money, then they got to go rob another bank.
Things never change.
And, so, they all eventually met a demise that was not real good.
When you were reading this book, what did you learn mostly about bad guys?
That there was a lot of them out there that nobody ever heard about or knew
and they
about.
Were kind of forced into it because they had nowhere else to go.
Right. And there's a number of law people that turned to being outlaws. So
really,
a few, and on the other hand, there's some that turned to be lawmen that had been outlaws.
Well, they sure knew where to go.
They did.
Yeah.
But, I'm fascinated with these guys, which I don't think are much different than today. The people that think they can get away with robbing a store, robbing a bank.
Yeah, the mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a new era of the same kind of guys.
I'm going to keep
with
my
that
eye
mentality.
on you. Okay. That was interesting about what they were and where they came from and everything.
Yeah. A lot of them just started out as cowboys.
Mostly their ages were what? Probably in their mid-30s?
Yeah, I don't believe there were any of them that were more than about.
They didn't live long.
One guy was 32, another guy was 20-something.
Really?
Well, there was a 37-year-old, but I don't think any over 40.
Yeah, then they saw the light.
They saw
one
the light.
way or the other. Oh, I enjoyed that. Hey, Doctor,
Look at this
what's
book
the name
I
of that book? I got to get that. Encyclopedia of Western Lawmen and Outlaws. That is with Billy the Kid on the cover.
You know, I can look up almost any outlaw or lawman in this big, thick book.
How about some of my old neighbors back in Wisconsin?
Well, were some of your relatives or neighbors?
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming on.
You bet.
Again. You did a great. I always enjoy having you on this program.
Well, thanks, Zeb. It's fun. It's been fun.
Well, okay, saddle up your horse and go rob a train, and stand in the tracks and yell, "Stop!"
The only thing we get now is a load of corn or beans.
Thanks for being here.
You bet.
We'll be back with more in just a minute, but right now I also want to tell you that on Wednesdays, no, it's not, Zeb, it's Thursdays, we have a special segment called Cassia County School Days, and we want to, just a minute, Dr. History, I'll be right with you. We want to say thank you to our two sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness, they've got all the spring clothes there, and it's the best place to shop for baby and birthday presents, and they gift wrap free. Oh, you better stop in today and see a family store, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And also, don't forget, the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley for outpatient surgeries to save you money, like life-saving colonoscopies and many, many more. Call and find out the information you need at 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you School Days in Cassia County on Thursdays at 10:10. Right now, we're going to send it back over to our main studios, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. And right now, Wheels, if you would please, sir, this good word for Tommy Ahlquist.
Professional politicians say the darndest things to get elected. Take 17-year professional politician Brad Little. In his TV ads, candidate Brad Little claims to support traditional marriage, but the record shows politician Brad cast the deciding vote against defining marriage as between a man and a woman. Candidate Brad Little claims to believe life is precious, but politician Brad cast the deciding vote to give your tax dollars to liberal, pro-abortion providers like Planned Parenthood. Candidate Raul Labrador claims to be tough on illegal immigration, but the record shows 12-year professional politician Raul was one of only 3 Republicans to allow illegal immigrants to receive taxpayer-funded health care benefits. If we can't trust professional politicians Brad Little and Raul Labrador on traditional marriage, abortion, or illegal immigration, how can we trust them on anything? Little, Labrador, 29 years is long enough. Paid for by Tommy for Idaho. Orville Thompson, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. And right now, without further ado, you've heard the saying, here come the judge. Well, right now, Wheels, do we have Mr. Fred Snook on the line?
Honestly, we don't. I tried calling over there, honestly, and the lady told me that on Tuesdays he goes into court. And so she said that he was unavailable.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute. Deanna had confirmed that he would be available today, Tuesday. And you're saying that he is in court right now?
Yeah, apparently from what the secretary had said. And so she gave me his cell phone number, but I am going to go ahead and try that and see if I can reach him. But
you do that real quick, and I'll take care of some business right here.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, my friend. We are trying to get a hold of Judge Fred Snook, up at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon to talk to us, as he has for many, many years, about the Salmon Select Horse Sale. And it's Idaho's premier horse sale, and we were going to visit with him a little bit this morning. That's coming up next week, so we wanted to give you some heads-up information on that. And old Wheels over at the station is going to try to call him on the cell phone and see where he is right now. So we're waiting for that. And while we are waiting, give me a call on the landline at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Excuse me, 7. The best laid plans of mice and men as I choke to death over here. Give us a call, please. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I was reading a story the other day on Newsmax magazine, and it seems like everybody is trying to social engineer our children as to what they can do, what they can or can't say, or who they can be friends with. This story said that many schools are trying to stop kids, and I want to get your opinion on this because it could very easily start here. Many schools are trying to stop kids from choosing a favorite buddy or a good friend. The idea is to stop classmates from feeling left out. In other words, if they see you chumming around with one particular friend, they're going to get involved. And they're going to say, no, during school time, we don't want you to sit and talk to that friend. We want you to go see friend over here or friend B over here. I find that extremely offensive. Maybe you don't. New York psychologist Dr. Barbara Greenberg says the trend began in London and is sweeping all across the United States. She said, quote, "It's a very intriguing social experiment." I don't find it that way at all. I'm sure that you had a best friend or a couple of best friends in school. How would you have reacted if somebody would have walked up to you, a teacher, principal, whatever, and said, no, you can't sit there and talk with them. No, you have to go over and talk with so-and-so. That, to me, is absolutely nothing more than social engineering and people coercing and making you leave your friends, leave the people you're comfortable with, and go find someone else. Deanne, do you have a little news update? He just pulled into the office. And Wheels, if you're listening, try the office number again really fast.
Okay.
And that number, if you don't have it, I've got it. It's the 2125 number. Okay? Okay, he's trying to call him right now. Thank you. He just pulled in. This is live radio at its best because the judge has just pulled in to the office. So we're going to get him on the air here in just a minute. What are your thoughts on that while I'm waiting for the judge to pick up the phone up in Salmon and talk to him a little bit? I wouldn't want anybody at a school, teacher, principal, superintendent, anybody, telling my kids who they can be friends with or not. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. And meanwhile, we are waiting patiently. This is the part where it really makes me sweat in the morning, is waiting for people to pick up a phone when they're scheduled to be on a certain time segment, and then there's a delay, or maybe we don't know where they are. Wheels, did we catch him?
She's trying to get him right now.
All right, buddy. Let me know. Talking about the Salmon Select Horse Sale up in Salmon, coming up next week at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds, and a man that has really put a lot of time and effort into making it not just a horse sale and a mule sale, but also a real Western happening, and that's Mr. Fred Snook. Yes.
I have him on the phone for you.
Very good. The lost is found. Here come the judge. Good morning, Fred Snook.
Sorry to
Tuesday is our main court day here in Salmon. I just literally drove back up to the office.
Well,
sorry to be late.
No, that's fine. It's a treat to talk to you again, my old friend. Listen, how are things shaping up for the great big 2018 edition of the Salmon Select Horse Sale?
Well, it's just shaping up great. So as always, we limit the number of horses, and we're right at that maximum 130 head. Basically of quarter horses, half drafts, paints, even one or two thoroughbreds and more. We have about 70 different consigners coming this year, Zeb. And literally from throughout the United States, we have horses from not only Idaho, Montana, Utah, Wyoming, Oregon, Indiana, Texas, Nevada, Colorado, and California.
Oh, my. Wow. Now, I want to start things off in the proper vein.
Nationwide sale, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
We'll have 100 good top-quality geldings. Some of the best horses in the industry will be here: ranch, rope, arena, trail, or pleasure, and some outstanding mares. Several of these half drafts, which are becoming very popular, and some younger prospects. But most of the geldings are 4 years old and older.
Okay.
And we don't sell any brood mares, yearlings, 2-year-olds. It's mainly a using horse type sale.
All right. Now, Fred, tell me this. You've been doing this for a long time. Give us a little thumbnail sketch. Why did Fred Snook get involved in the Salmon Select Horse Sale? What was your main reason behind taking over the reins?
Well, that was because my mom and dad told me to. That was 46 years ago, and I'd returned from law school, and Mom and Dad had about 100 registered horses here. So they said, well, we better have a sale, and so that summer we had about 30 in that first year's sale, and that year all the horses together brought about $8,500.
Mm-hmm.
And the high-selling horse was $640.
Oh, my.
And last year, those horses brought $722,000.
Wow.
The high seller was $15,000. So I always laugh that first year we didn't have a very good manager, Zeb.
Well, Fred, let me ask you this question. You've turned this sale, the Salmon Select Horse Sale, into not just a horse and a mule sale, but like we've said in years past, it's a happening. It's a fun event for everybody because there's so much going on. Why don't you give us a quick thumbnail sketch of all the activities that are going to go on? I've got about 7 minutes here.
Okay, Zeb. So, yes, it is. Number one, we have about 50 vendors, and they likewise come from throughout the whole region, Winnemucca, Nevada, Billings, Spokane, etc. So, yeah, there's many people come to the sale that aren't interested in buying a horse or a mule. They just come for the ambience and the Western attire, etc., the Western atmosphere, visit all of the vendors, etc., in the commercial buildings. Then we have an SSS ride-through through the Salmon Main Street on Thursday at 1. Then Thursday evening, the Idaho Outfitters and Guides Association from Limhi and Custer County, they have an event there at the fairgrounds, a welcome to the sale. This year they're having Muzzy Braun and the Travis Hardy Band.
Ooh, they're good.
Will be providing that entertainment. And it's the Idaho State Championship Wolf Howling Contest, which is quite an event. Kids come and howl, adults howl, public officials howl, and it is the Idaho State Championship Wolf Howling event.
Okay.
So that's Thursday. Then on Friday, we have numerous food vendors there. A lot of the community, the hockey team, the Salmon High School boosters, hospice, all of those come out with the different foods available. We'll have mounted shooting in the 4-H arena. That's always interesting to watch. Then we have the Best in the Pen Mule Challenge, where all of these different mule sellers, and there's 60-some mules, again, from throughout the whole country, Arkansas, etc. They show off their mules. Then we have the ranch horse competition, and a lot of people just come, and that takes about 4 hours of watching 60 or 70, beautiful, fine horses all perform in the arena.
Right.
The backcountry horsemen, they're going to have a free trail tips for horses and mules clinic that's free. Then we have a mule trail competition. And then at 4 o'clock on Friday, the grandstand is absolutely packed as we have the Jeff Allen Memorial Mule Race.
Oh, boy.
And that's at about 10 mules from the sale. They're nominated. Altogether, a $2,500 purse, $1,000 to the winner.
Ooh.
But that's just a great event, Western style. All of the mule riders with their cowboy hats on, and it's a great spectacle. So everybody likes to get in and watch that.
Uh-huh.
So that's Thursday and Friday, and then Friday evening we have obviously the mule sale itself. At the same time, we also have the open pole bending and barrel racing jackpot, and that kind of kicks off our barrel racing season here in our area. Then the Saturday, we have the open performance of the horses, then another trail horse competition. I think there are 90-some of the sale horses entered in that.
Wow.
Then we have the rope horse performance, and then we actually get down to the 46th annual Salmon Select Horse Sale kicks off at 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
So there's just a number of things can do. We also, on both sales, like in the horses, there's $1,000 possible pick six, and that's absolutely free. You just have a card and try to pick the 6 high-selling horses in order. And if you can do that, you would win $1,000. We have the same thing for the mules. That high 5, pick the high 5 selling mules and win $500.
There's so much going on up there that you, like I say, I take my hat off to you because you really turned this into a family event with fun for the entire family, and just absolutely a beautiful location up there at Salmon at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds. For those that are listening and they're not sure where to go or the times that start and everything, give us kind of a quick thumbnail sketch on where they should be and what time they'd better be there.
Okay, number one, if you go online to Salmon Select Sale, all one word, lowercase, just www, but you don't even need that, just salmonselectsale.com. It will bring up our website that'll have the listing of all of the events and times, and then you can also click on it and go horse by horse or mule by mule to get all of those details. Again, that's salmonselectsale.com.
Okay.
So that'll get you started there. The phone numbers for the sale are 208-756-2125. Again, that's 208-756-2125. We have reserved seating available, but that's the main office, and they can answer any questions. There's free camping there at the fairgrounds. They have about a 10-acre hayfield that's part of the fairgrounds, and people are welcome to just camp there.
Okay.
And many people do. Literally hundreds of people camp there at the fairgrounds during the sale.
Well, I want to tell you something, Fred. It's so good to hear you back on the program, and I know in years past you were kind of fighting some health issues. It sounds like you're fit and fiddle and ready to have this great big sale coming up on April 12th, the starting day through the 14th.
That's for for sure, Zeb, and we're hoping you folks can come up.
Oh, man, I want to meet you the worst way and sit there and talk to you and kind of share horse stories. So I appreciate it. Fred Snook at the Salmon Select Horse Sale, Lamhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon, April 12, 13, and 14. We'll be talking to you again before the activity. Fred, thank you. God bless, and have a super day.
Thank you, Zeb.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice man right there, Fred Snook. And wow, if they really put on a lot of activities for everybody up there. The mounted shooting and, of course, the wolf howling contests and all the dancing and the different vendors and the horse sale and all the performance classes. Oh, my goodness, the list goes on and on. Congratulations to the good folks up there at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds, Salmon, Idaho, Fred Snook, and the Salmon Select Horse Sale. Try to get up there if you can. Right now, we're going to take just a moment to find out, are we going to get some snow down here? Well, we're going to find out about the weather in just a moment. Stay tuned, but right now the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my goodness, the telephone number to call to find out more, 324-7657, or you can go to the website, scarrowsmeats.com. Don Scarrow and the crew with the best of prime ribs and smoked ham, breakfast sausage, all the different kinds of bacons, bratwurst. Oh, it's great at Scarrows Meats. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're actually going to see some sunshine today and winds definitely at a minimum. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies, expecting a high of 52. Slightly breezy winds out of the southwest, right around 8 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low of 37. We do have a slight chance of rain showers for tonight and for tomorrow. 20% chance of rain or snow in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 58, and winds are going to be picking up. For Wednesday night, 20% chance of showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy and 40. And then for Thursday, 30% chance of showers, mostly in the afternoon, and a high of 58. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And Gina, thank you. Brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. At Scarrows Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrows Meats. Oh, I've had this note, and I've hit it occasionally, and I want to tell you again that if you want to earn a college credit in fishing, I'm not kidding. Remember, Kelton Hatch was on the air a couple of weeks ago, and he said he is going to be teaching what's called a Wild About Fishing workshop that's going to be held at the Jerome, Idaho Department of Fish and Game office on Friday afternoon and Saturday, April 13th and 14th. So if you want to earn a college credit, and can you believe that the teacher is going to be Kelton Hatch, sign up for that Wild About Fishing. Call the Idaho Fish and Game Department at 324-4359. And then I want everybody to get back with me and kind of grade the professor, Kelton Hatch, okay? That's coming up on the 13th and 14th. And one other note that I had, I hope this isn't too late, but I had some people call and ask me about seedling tree orders are now being taken by the Soil and Water Conservation Districts. 11 varieties of seedlings are available. Quantities are limited, and call the office number of 436-4202. There. We've done our daily good deed. By the way, I want to say thank you to some people that did a job for me, and they did it superbly. And that's Bridges Construction Company. Joe Bridges and Justin Archer. Wow. I'm just telling you, folks, they helped build some fence and refurbish an area that I needed fixed up. Woo! Do they do a great job. Joe Bridges, Justin Archer, and Bridges Construction Company. I swear by these guys. And so if you ever need somebody to do some really good fence work, building arenas, portable welding, they do the job, and they do it very, very well. Let's see what else have we got cooking here. Tomorrow on the program, we've got Dave Bigo, Ralph Peterson, Pacific Legal Foundation. Gabby is going to be on the phone tomorrow, Boucher. And we've got a lot of interesting topics to cover on tomorrow's program, so don't miss a minute of it, starting at 8:06 in the morning. Also, a big thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, our major sponsor that we're very proud of. And they're having right now a great big spring tire sale. So, there you go. They're having a tire sale, and you can get ready for all the spring and summer driving with the best of tires. The best of tires for your vehicle, be it a car, pickup, SUV, and they've got super great prices on their sale tires. You better get in there and check it out today. Don't forget to the very best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries at 7 locations, easy to find, easy to get into, and they can serve you. Stop over and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. They are the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're going to wrap it up and put it back in the box for today, and we want to urge you to have a good day. Enjoy it. The weather sounds like it's going to get a little nasty tomorrow. But remember, we'll be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06 for 3 hours. We'll saddle the horse and ride on Zeb at the Ranch. And remember what we always say, the way things were are the way things ought to be. Here's a good word for Tommy Alquist, and then Wheels is going to take you up to CBS News. Adios. See you tomorrow morning.